Good evening. Good evening, Pamela. How are you tonight? You look
Hey,
gorgeous as usual.
thank you. Good evening, Vinny. Good evening to all of our viewers and listeners. It's
Yeah.
Wednesday. It's the beginning of March,
Well, we're
a new
coming.
month.
Hopefully, we'll be in spring soon. Yeah.
So,
Um.
just in keeping with what you and I normally talk about, the Where's Pam tonight? So, tonight I'm appearing the beautiful lobby of 200 Park Avenue,
Oh yeah. No.
in
Know
City.
that building well. Know that building. I have a lot of law firms, clients of mine there. Hello,
Yes, I
Michael. How are you tonight? So
hi.
tonight we have not a happy podcast tonight. We're talking about devastation in Ukraine, bombing of Ukraine, people dying, people being displaced. Um, you can't help but in every newspaper. Well, a lot of the newspapers are talking about it. A lot of the TV shows have it on. Um, it's a terrible thing, and people are worried that it's going to escalate. I'm worried that it's going to escalate, and I'll tell you why. Uh, Vladimir Putin is a very crafty guy. He was head of the KGB. He's a sneaky guy. He's a master chess player. We all gave him a lot of credit for how he was handling this until he started bombing. Then once he started bombing cities and killing people, people have a different attitude. Now everybody is freezing him out. All the countries in Europe, all the airspace, all the automakers, uh, uh, Chrysler, Mercedes, everybody is not. They're stopping sales to Russia. They can't get Apple stopped sales. Everybody's stopping any kind of business with Russia. It's part of the sanctions. I think that they came in too late. They should have did it earlier. But and I don't think he understood uh, what the sanctions were going to do to him too late. Um, what I'm worried about is that one of those missiles is going to miss a Ukraine target and hit Romania or Poland or one of the NATO countries and start an all-out war. And the other thing I'm worried about is that if if and when he takes over Ukraine, is he going to stop? What do you think, Pamela? You think he's going to stop? Uh-oh, we don't have Bandit.
Give me one. Source my audio.
Okay. Did you hear what I said? You think he's going to stop? Oh, well. Okay. We'll wait till Pamela comes back with technical difficulty. Pamela's on the street with her cell phone. Hi, Mike. How are you? World War III. Yeah, it sounds. History repeats itself, and Hitler in 1939 went into Poland, and he did a couple excursion into other countries. Neville Chamberlain, who was the prime minister of England, kind of like let him go. All right, he's only taken one country because they speak German and he's German, and we'll let it go. So Russia's doing the same thing. They're saying, well, the Ukrainians speak Russian, they're part Russian. Ukraine used to be part of Russia, so let's go and take them back. Of course, the Ukrainian don't subscribe to that notion. They are fighting, and I mean they're good fighters.
Okay,
People
but the
that
difference, Vinny,
yeah,
this is okay. The Ukrainians, you have civilians, just average men. Like you would have here. Average plumbers, electricians, dentists, doctors, just average people right now taking up arms, looking to protect their country. And the sad part is, they're sending their women and their children off on trains and buses, any way to get out of the country for
yeah,
safety. And it's dangerous trying to get to all the different borders. Unfortunately, the other day it was reported that there was a young girl as young as 6 years old while she was with her family as they were trying to leave. A Russian soldier shot this little girl point blank in the head in front of her parents as they were trying to leave. So you have there have been a lot of there have been a lot of men and women and children who have died trying to escape, as well as who are still there. And these are not people who are trained. You have average people defending their own country against trained Russian soldiers.
Yeah.
Day of
And
men
some of
in
the
the
Russian
street
soldiers have surrendered.
standing in front
Some
of
of
the
them
tent.
have, they don't like being there. They do not
True.
like
You have a lot of
being in.
Russians too. Right. They're protesting in their own country. They it's no different than if we're in war right now with Canada. It's our neighboring country. But this
Yeah,
shouldn't be happening. We're in the year 2022. We're all civilized.
well, I don't want to say this is good news, but Sweden, which has been a neutral country for years, has recently got involved. They're sending a lot of munitions and supplies to Ukrainians. They're on the Ukrainians. Everybody's on the Ukrainian side. The only ones that are on, the only ones on the Russian side is North Korea, the communist countries, because they have the same narrative in their minds. Again, I'm wondering if this is going to escalate. Now, Putin is the type of guy, he has to win. He can't lose. And if he sees that he's losing, he might use more tactical weapons. Now he's been using this vapor bomb, this a vacuum bomb. It's not a nuclear bomb, but it's terrible. What it does is, Mike, the big problem with Putin and Biden have access to the button. Very scary times. I can't trust Biden protecting the free world. We have to agree with that. Biden is a very weak individual. That's why Putin went into Ukraine. And he did it. He went into Crimea when Biden was vice president with Obama, and nobody stopped him. And now he's going into Ukraine because Biden is in control of this country. Now, what I don't understand is why we're buying oil from a country that's a predator that went into attacked an unprovoked attack to Ukraine, and yet we have better supply of oil than anybody else. I just don't understand it. If we want to be green, if we don't want to have carbon footprints, et cetera, okay, but you're still using the oil. You still have the carbon emissions. You still have it. So why don't you just use your own oil instead of buying it from some? And by buying oil from Russia, you're aiding and abetting them in their attack of Ukraine.
Okay, but we don't only.
It defeats the purpose of a sanction.
Vinny, we don't only get our oil supply from Russia. We also get our oil supply from the Mideast.
But we have more oil than they do. We have more oil than the Middle East. We have oil. Matter of fact, five new oil wells in the United States opened up. We have our own oil. I don't know if you know that. We have better supply than they have. We can export oil. We don't have to import it. It's ridiculous. And that's why the price of oil, the gasoline has gone up, because oil has gone up. The barrel of oil is now $111 a barrel from $40 a barrel. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why is Biden doing that? Why is he doing that? Because the squad, the leftists are telling him to do that. And what?
Okay, Biden is not the one who sets the oil price.
No. But the oil prices are being set because because we have to import it, and the prices have gone up of the raw oil. We can't. Yes. We had up until Biden took over, we were energy independent. We didn't have to get oil from anyone. We had our own oil.
We've always been dependent.
Why did he stop it and getting oil?
Okay, Mike.
$107 a barrel. Putin making $1 billion a day. He's supporting the war with our money. We're supporting his. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay. But just going back to what you said earlier, as far as freezing Russia's assets, even right now in New York, they're freezing Russia's assets because, as you know, the Russians, the oligarchs, they have a lot of expensive real estate that they own here in New York
Hmm.
and in the States. The real estate all over, they have their yachts. So all of that is being frozen right now that they can't access any of their assets. So they're
And that's
trying to
good
freeze them out. Right, exactly. Trying to keep them
because
shut
now
down.
they have Putin's ear. That sounds like Putin. Hey, come on, let's
Yes,
get
but
this over with.
shutting down their assets, shutting down their airspace, not allowing them to fly in any other airspace. So we're trying to cut them off. But the only problem is this, something, the war needs to stop. You have innocent people who are being killed in the Ukraine. And on top of it all, you have an individual, the president there is a young president, and he's doing very well. It's President Zelensky, the
Very
president of the
well.
Ukraine. He's not backing down. He's not leaving. He's not surrendering.
It's amazing. Some of the Ukrainians that are expatriates are going back to to fight. Klitko, he was a world champion boxer. He's a multimillionaire. He put a uniform on. Miss Ukraine, she put the uniform on. She looks good in the uniform too. I got to tell you. She went back. A tennis player. These are multimillionaires. They don't have to go and put themselves in harm's way just to help their country.
If they're
They're
helping the country.
heroes.
But also, what President Zelensky decided, it was reported yesterday or today, is that he's freeing many prisoners and having them fight on the front lines to defend the Ukraine against the Soviet Union, against Russia, and against Putin's army.
Mark Marciano says reopen the pipeline now. They should. We should open the pipeline. I
Okay,
don't know
but that's
why
a
he.
different, honestly, to tell you the truth, that's a totally different topic for another night with regards to the pipeline
Okay.
and
Well,
Biden
no,
and what we're
very,
doing.
it's important because we got sanctions against the Russians, and we're giving them money. They're making money on this when they shouldn't be. We shouldn't be giving them buying oil from them. And our allies in Europe should be getting oil from us, not buying it from Russia. And
Okay, but
it's
they're
just
also getting it. We also get our oil from the Mid East. We're not getting our oil solely from the Soviet Union, from Russia.
no right, but we have our own oil. We don't
Right,
need to
but
all get it
that's
from
something
them.
I understand. That's something that needs to be looked into if they're going to reopen the pipeline or turn around and go green, get more electric
But when we
cars.
go green, we're going to go black. We're going to be dead. We're going to be. You
So I think
can't
I
go
just
green
lost you.
overnight. They want to. They want to. They want to. You have to do it in stages, and they don't want to do. They want to. They want to go right. They want to get green right away, and it's not going to happen. And look what's happening now with us. Now, the people that want us to go green have lots of money. They're very rich. They're the elite. They don't care about us peons. All these congressmen and senators, they all are very wealthy. They become wealthy when they go to Congress. Before they go to Congress, they're okay. Once they go into Congress and they look at Nancy Pelosi, she's worth $200 million. How? Not on her looks. She got insider trading. So what happens is they don't care about the price of oil. They'll pay $7 a gallon or whatever it is. They don't care. We can't. And also it affects our other economy because when you have high oil gas prices, the truck drivers, the people they use cars and trucks, they have to they got to charge more money too. So it's a spiraling inflation. Now, Joseph, the Great Reset dictates that we make
Let me do
changes
this. I'm
now.
going to sign back in because I can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear you. I sign back in, and then Okay, so we're going to have the rabbi come on very shortly. Um, they can all, yeah, they can all afford the electric cars. A regular Joe can't. I mean, it's just ridiculous what they're doing, and they just want us to fail. They want us to fail, and then they're going to come in as the heroes. They saved the day. That's what's going to happen. And the left is so hypocritical about everything they do. And I hate to get into the politics. We're talking about the Ukraine and how Russia, and one of the things that I feel is that Russia senses a weakness in our country, and they're right. We have a weakness in our country. We have a weakness in Congress, a weakness in the Senate. We have definitely a weakness in the White House. We have a vice president that's totally inept. She has the lowest approval rating. So does our president. So they're not doing their job, and that gives more. I can't think of the word without getting more angry. It gives them the boy. Okay, you're back. You're back. Okay, I can't. I don't hear you. Hello. Okay, so um, when a predator sees weakness, for example, in the animal kingdom, when a lion or a tiger or a predator sees a gazelle with a broken leg or stuck into, they jump on it right away because they know that the gazelle can't run away and the gazelles are fast. So what they do is they jump on them. Same thing with all anything in the animal kingdom. And we are, as humans, we're in the same ballpark as the animals. We act the same way with our aggression, with the things that we do to each other, which is terrible. So Putin, Taiwan, the Chinese, they see that we have a weakness, and that causes the hostilities, and that's why uh, Ukrainian people are under the gun, figuratively and actually. We're being exploited. Yes, Mike, we are. We're being exploited, and I don't know how we're gonna resolve this. Everybody keeps talking that the midterm elections are going to make a change. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be an immediate change. Um, it, what's been done is done. I mean, we have a terrible situation. We have the squad, the leftists, and the Democratic Party taking over the Democratic Party. You do have people in the Democratic Party who are moderate. You have a number of moderates, but they're being over. They're being shouted over, and that's why we're in this mess that we're in. And it goes on the whole world. The whole world relies on the United States. And also, I was listening to one of the announcers saying that normally the United States is the leader. We're the lead. We're the leader. We're following. Biden is following the lead of UK and France and Europe. They're leading the way, not the U.S. And I think that shows another weakness, and that's why Ukraine is in the situation that it is. It breaks my heart to see innocent people being bombed, and the Russians are bombing the hell out of them. And they can't hear. Pam, you got to get your laptop. The phone doesn't work. The phone doesn't work. All right, I'm working, so let me talk. Let me talk. So, um, Pamela, can you tell us about our guest? Can you tell us a little bit about our guest that's coming on the rabbi? Anthony, can you do anything with the sound for her? It's on her end. All right. Well, I'll keep talking. I'm always a big talker anyway. But Anthony, when are we going to bring the rabbi on? I'd like to hear his. He's got a lot to say. He's from Ukraine. He's not on. Okay. Okay. I did a podcast this afternoon as a guest on Pal Talk, and one of the things that I discussed, and I want to discuss now, is the possibility of this war escalating. If Putin does, and again, I hate to sound negative, but it's just a matter of time before the Ukrainians are going to capitulate to him. What is he going to do? Is he going to go after other countries? Is he going to go after non-NATO, like Moldavia? Moldova is not a NATO country. Um, I don't know if they're going to go after them. And then you have a couple other outlying uh, countries that were in the Soviet Union before. All these Kakistan, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, I can't, every stand, whatever. Um, I don't even know if he wants those countries. I don't know if they have anything worthwhile to add. One of the things that I learned in history is that empires tend to uh, implode after a while. Take the English Empire. They were the masters of the sea all over the world. They were probably one of the largest empires at its time. And what happened? They had countries that were under their rule that weren't giving anything to the empire. If you take something away, if you take over a country or a company, there have to be a profit. There has to be some sort of profit out of it. And what happens is they took over countries, like for example, India was part of an English empire, and they weren't doing well, and then they rebelled, and they had the Thuggees, and they took over, they threw out the English, and other countries did the same thing. The United States, we did that in the 1700s, but I think the same thing's going to happen to Russia. Now, when Russia was USSR, uh, the Reagan told Gorbachev, take down the wall, and they did. And I think that's where Putin is really pissed off, that his predecessor took down the wall and took down the whole USSR, and he wants to bring it back. And he's a tyrant. There's no other ways to say it. He's a tyrant. He has a very large army. He has a lot of nuclear weapons. But his army isn't as good as he thinks it is. They've had trouble. They're having a lot of trouble with the Ukrainians. They've had some setbacks, and that bothers him. They have this 40-mile long caravan of trucks and tanks and whatever, which is stuck. Why is it stuck? In any war, you have to have logistics. You have to be able to put supplies to carry your troops. And that has been the detriment to a lot of different armies. For example, when the Germans attacked Russia in World War II, their supply lines were cut off. And then they got stuck with the Russian winter is brutal, and they didn't have the logistics. They didn't have all the supplies that they needed. You can't. The same thing happened with France when when Napoleon attacked Russia in the 1800s. Same thing. Your supply lines is so important, and sometimes your army goes too far and is too successful, and you don't have your supplies in step with you, and that's I hope. I mean, I'm hoping that's going to happen in Ukraine, but I don't know. I'm not that very optimistic about it. I think that the wall was in Germany. Yeah, the wall was in Germany, and when they took the wall down, the USSR broke. West Germany and East Germany became one, and then because the Russian Republic started or ended at the East Germany, and then everything just went down the tube. We have history repeats itself. That's all I'm going to say. The only thing I'm worried about is that one missile is going to miss a Ukrainian target and go into Poland or Romania or something like that. Are we back? I can't hear you. What kind of? How come your phone doesn't? Okay. So we have a situation here where everybody is on pins and needles, worrying that the Russians are going to do something and cause World War III. Now, if they do start a war, everybody, we all have nukes. Everybody, France has nukes, England has nukes. I don't know about all the other countries have nukes. But once the nukes start, it's the end of the world. It would be like, um, okay, our guest is coming on. We have the Rabbi Plotkin coming on, and a very interesting individual. He's opening up synagogues in Ukraine. He's opened up two of them. He's amazing, amazing person. So let's bring him on, Anthony. Hello, Rabbi.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Tonight, it's not a difficult situation now in the whole world. And you want to hear from me something, how I'm coming in Ukraine. You want to tell you a little story.
Well, isn't that what rabbis do? They tell stories in a religious
No,
sense.
no, I want to to tell you my history, how I came to Zhytomyr and Berdyshev. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Keep going. I'm listening.
Yeah, okay. I was born in St. Petersburg, in Leningrad, and then about 36 years ago, I started to travel to Ukraine because my father was a rabbi and I'm a rabbi, and and the Lubavitcher Rebbe, as you see here, maybe see his picture on the wall. He sent me there to help the Jewish people. I started with Berdyshev because I speak Russian. That's why it was easier for me. You listen to me?
Yeah,
Do you hear me?
I hear you. Perfect.
Very good. I started with Berdyshev. Berdyshev is a city not such a big like Zhytomyr. Now in Zhytomyr the bombing, but Berdyshev is about by car is about half an hour travel. So I started from Berdyshev, and we took over a synagogue there. Then, in about a few years later, I went to Zhytomyr, but now everybody knows here now the bombs fell there. What? In Zhytomyr, we got the synagogue. It still was. They didn't want to give it to us, but with God's help, we got a synagogue, a whole community, and built a mikveh. And then I brought there a shliach, it calls in Hebrew. I mean, a missionary that he helps me. Shloime Wilhelm. He's now in Zhytomyr. He sent now the old people from Zhytomyr. He sent them by buses to Israel, different, and he remains there. So he was my helper, Shloime Wilhelm, Rabbi Shloime Wilhelm. Then in Berdyshev, I continued to work. I bought there a synagogue, I built it there, and I brought up there also a missionary, a shaliach, it calls it in Hebrew. He called Meisha Thaler, Rabbi Meisha Thaler. So I helped them all the time. I traveled back and forth. I helped them with a lot of money, collect for their money, and I helped them out. And now the situation is that Moshe Thaler from Berdyshev, now he left Berdyshev because it's a danger. So he left with his wife. But he left there the manager, the Gabbai, this we call in Hebrew. He gave him $20,000 so he should help the people. The people in Berdyshev, they go, everybody comes to the synagogue, and we have a basement, big basement, because a big basement. So they all now have beds in the basement and in the synagogue, and we make the food there, bring them, we cook there. There's a lot of money, a lot of expenses, very big expenses. But we still Baruch Hashem doing it in Berdyshev. In Zhytomyr is the different situation. Zhytomyr, my shliach that I sent him, he left it. He's a wife. He left Jitomer. Now he bosses. All the people who work with him left Jitomer, but he remained in Jitomer. So the same thing. Now I heard that in the radio that says you have in Kiev two rabbis. One rabbi is in Kiev, Rabbi Asman. He's a Lubavitcher, Chabad rabbi, and you have also now Rabbi Bleich, and they were speaking in the radio. And I heard that Rabbi Asman said that he remains. His speech was very tragical speech. He told them that he didn't believe it, and and he says, "I'm staying there. If they kill me, I don't care. I have to protect the people who remain in Kiev." So this is now the situation that the Lubavitcher Rebbe sent so many shluchim, so many young men, rabbis in all different cities, in Kharkov, in Kherson, all this, that's all Lubavitcher Hasidim. And this whole mishmash, some people going away, some people remains. So it's a big tragedy now. So, and I heard also from Rabbi Bleich that he says that Zelensky, the president from Ukraine, called him and he asked him he should pray for pray. You see, he's a Jew, and he asked him he should pray. What could do a rabbi? He asked him to pray. See, so you all praying, and we also have to help them, whatever we could them with money or food, whatever we could do it, and the Almighty has to help us. We have to ask him the blessing of God should help. It's not for the Jews, all the world. Every God created every man is the creation of God. So God should help them. This is a difficult situation. That's briefly I'll tell you by history.
Okay?
Okay?
Rabbi Plotkin, first of all, thank you for joining us tonight. And Rabbi Plotkin, are you in contact with a lot of the people from back in your communities over there at Berdyshev and Zhytomyr to find out what is happening there daily with the bombings in Ukraine?
It's not clear. It's not clear.
It's not clear.
I'm having technical difficulties tonight.
We can't hear you.
I'm saying, are you in contact with any of the people that you know there in Berdyshev and Zhytomyr in Ukraine about the daily activities with the bombings? Can you tell us what it is that you know of what is happening every day in Ukraine?
It's
We have a technical difficulty with
my microphone tonight.
No,
it's
him.
like
It's Rabbi.
static. It's static. You know static? It's static. You can make it a little clearer.
We can't, Rabbi. We can't hear you. Can you hear us?
From your side, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yes. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Okay,
Rabbi, he seems like he's frozen in time.
Can you hear us?
Okay. Well, I hear you. I can't hear Rabbi Plotkin, but just Rabbi Plotkin has been helping the Jews. I hear you. I don't hear Rabbi Plotkin.
I cannot hear you. But here.
Well, we wanted to know about Rabbi Plotkin, his dedication to Chabad. I think we lost him.
Maybe I'll have.
Well, we're talking with Rabbi Shmuel Plotkin, who's been involved for most of his life with Chabad, and he opened up these two synagogues in Ukraine, one in Berdyshev and one in Zhytomyr, where after he opened up these synagogues, he actually hired two rabbis and their wives to run these synagogues and open up schools there in these areas, as well as orphanages and also senior programming. He's been traveling back and forth to Ukraine to these towns, both to raise money for these communities as well as other Jewish communities throughout Ukraine. And he's also traveled to other areas in Europe to do the same thing, to open up synagogues.
Has he witnessed any of the bombing?
Well, that's what I was trying to find out. I know what's happening is that we've been receiving information as well as videos from people that are there in these Jewish communities in Ukraine that have been explaining that you have women, pregnant women, who are in the basements of the hospitals there, ready to give birth. You have the children now in basements in orphanages as the bombs are raining down and the missiles are raining down on Ukraine. And as you know, they've taken out residential buildings. They
Yes.
also bombed the tower. They took down the radio and television tower in the
Well,
center of town.
Elon Musk has given them uh,
S-
satellite, so
by satellites,
they have the internet through
right?
because of
This way
Elon
they're
Musk.
able to contact everybody.
Yeah. I thought I saw the rabbi just a second ago.
I know we
Come
had
on.
the flash of the rabbi.
A flash of the rabbi. You gotta. I mean, he's 94 years old. You gotta.
He's 94
God
years.
bl-
God bless him. It's amazing.
God bless him. God bless him. He can still get around.
Still gets around. Thank God he's healthy and he still gets around and he's doing God's work.
Yes, he's doing God's work.
Mhm.
Um,
His daughter, the Rebbetzin, Shterny Raskin, is Rabbi Raskin's wife and very involved in Chabad. There he is. We got Rabbi Raskin.
hello,
Hello.
Rabbi Ashkin. How are you?
How are you? My pleasure to be here with you tonight.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. I was just praising and speaking about your father-in-law, Rabbi Plotkin, and explaining his dedication to Chabad and what he's been doing in Ukraine. So maybe now you can enlighten us a little bit better. As I was explaining to our audience and to Vinny, that we've been getting reports, and you've been getting reports of what's been going on over there in Ukraine. So if you can enlighten us as well.
So in the communities like Zhytomyr, Bardichev, Odessa, Kharkov, etc., they are paying drivers $10,000 a bus to take and bus 50 people at a time in one bus out of the city, and they bring them to the borders. If they can return after the war, nobody really knows. But right now, they took what they can and they're out. And it could be they'll never come back again. So it's a big self-sacrifice for the people to leave, but they're sparing their lives. On the other hand, many of the shluchim are still there. The emissaries are still there. They feel they need to be there for the community. They haven't left. Other shluchim, like in Bardichev, there was the bombing and the shooting there was very intense. So the rabbi left with his wife, but he has the his assistant there in the basement of the synagogue in Bardichev, and the community is hiding. Basement is like a bomb shelter. They have mattresses, food, and they're there 24/7. And he left them with a stack of cash to be able to buy more food and to buy what they need and to pay off who they have to pay off to make sure that the shul is protected with the community members in Bardichev. So even though my father-in-law lives now primarily in New York, he goes back and forth every few months to Bardichev, and he raises money here in New York and brings it to the community in the Bardichev. He doesn't get paid for what he's doing. He doesn't take one nickel for himself. Every penny he gets, he uses for the community. But right now, it's in peril. We don't know what's going to be.
Very admirable.
And right now,
Uh,
so many people are displaced as they're leaving their homes. You have refugees now who are traveling across the border into Poland and into other areas,
and
wherever they're going to
Romania
be
also.
taken.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part is, I mean, it's
They're
it's
all
almost like what happened back in the 30s. I'm sorry,
yes,
Rabbi Raskin.
but there
I
are
didn't mean
also
to
Jews
interrupt
now.
you.
Anytime. There are Jews also being airlifted to Israel. Every day there are planes flying out for those who want to go to Israel. But if you don't want to go to Israel, then the cities like Lvov and others are taking them in. And the shluchim there, the Chabad Lubavitch emissaries there are taking them in. They're giving them blankets, they're giving them water and food, and they're protecting them until we see what's going to be happening over the next few days. But what we are asking of all Jews and all citizens throughout the world to pray on behalf of our brothers and sisters in Ukraine that God protect them. And we do this by reciting Psalms, which is a universal prayer, by giving charity to your local favorite charities. Doesn't matter which one you give to, but it's important that we give charity. When God sees that we give charity, this brings blessing and protection to the world. And each one of us can have a part in it. So you don't have to be in Ukraine, and you don't have to carry a gun, but each one of us could participate. You don't have to be Jewish. Any Jew or Gentile, any human being can participate by reciting a psalm, by giving some charity to the local community charity, and that's the way we will bring hope and salvation and protection to these people.
If you can explain something, unfortunately, we did hear the other day that the Holocaust Memorial there at Babi Yar was targeted and it was destroyed. And for the people around the world who don't know that,
we're in Babi Yar. Huh?
yes, the Holocaust
Yeah, that's what
Memorial
they're
there at Babi
saying.
Yar.
So, look, I was in Ukraine a few years ago. Every single city in Ukraine has a memorial because thousands upon thousands of Jews of every city were killed. I walked out of one city, 83,000 Jews were killed there. 92,000 Jews were killed there. It's not a joke. So the fact that a memorial got knocked down, I'm sure more than one got knocked down because they're all over the place. Thank God. I don't believe that Putin is after the Jews. This is not a war against the Jews. This is a war to acquire additional land. But we hope and pray that the Jews will be protected, because when things go bad and all of a sudden there's a famine and there's no food, the first one they blame are the Jews. And especially
Rabbi, I got a question.
I got
a question for you. What do you think is going to happen with Russia? What do you think Putin's going to do after if he defeats Ukraine? Would you think he's going to go further? You think he's going to go after other countries?
I'm not a political analyst, and as a Chabad rabbi, I'm not supposed to talk politics. But
take a stab at it. Take a stab at it.
Take a stab. It's also not a Jewish thing to take a stab. But,
that was a good one. I like that one.
If I stab an animal, it's not kosher. And if I stab a human being, then I'm a bad person.
That's not kosher either.
That, I don't believe he's looking to acquire new land. I think he wants Ukraine. He feels it belongs to Russia. He wants to annex it to Russia. He said that originally was part of the USSR. And that's what I believe he wants to do. But who knows? Who knows? We have to pray that it says that the hearts, they melochim nesarim b'yad Hashem. It says the hearts of leaders and kings are in the hands of God.
Well, one of the things
therefore, today he could want to do this, and tomorrow he could change his mind and want to do something else.
Hopefully not.
One of the viewers just commented that even non-Jews are hiding in the synagogues for protection. So at least this war at least brings people together.
There's no question that the synagogues are open for everybody. They're open for everybody. Anybody who wants to come is welcome to go to any of those synagogues. And it's a time that human beings are showing their concern and their humanity for another. The fact that all of these synagogues are opening up the doors for people to come in really reveals the dignity and the human spirit that perhaps was concealed throughout COVID is now coming alive,
Yep.
and hopefully this will be a resurgence and a resurrection for all of us to have love and respect and concern for our fellow human being, and to realize the importance of human life. So this is, I hope, one good thing that will come out of the war, that we will begin to respect one another and care for one another and do for one another.
And
Thank you so much.
acceptance for one another, no matter what the religion is and no matter
Right.
what the color of your skin is.
We know that my mentor, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, would always speak and talk and preach that every human being is created in the image of God. Every human being. And therefore, because every human being is created in the image of God, we need to respect every single human being, regardless of creed, color, or race. And the Rebbe would talk about the 7 Noahide laws, that these were the laws that Moses gave on Sinai for all nations of the world. And by following these laws, this is the way we continue to maintain the dignity of a sane environment, that the world would be in a state of peace and tranquility. The Rebbe actually wrote a letter to the chaplain of the U.S. Army, and he said that if we would be teaching the 7 Noahide laws, the Holocaust would never have happened. It would never have happened. So each one of us has this responsibility and this duty and this privilege to make the world a better place by learning the 7 Noahide laws, by living the 7 Noahide laws, and by spreading the teachings of these 7 Noahide laws. And these are laws, universal laws for all nations of the world.
And all religions.
Basically, not to bow down to idols, not to blaspheme God, not to kill, not to steal, not to commit illegitimate sexual acts, not to be cruel to animals, and not to violate the laws of the country. And then in addition to that, to give charity, to respect your elders, to respect your parents, etc., etc. So these are basic laws, common laws that God gave all nations. And by doing so, we are respecting human life and dignity. And we hope and pray that the war will come to an end very, very soon. And all those
We
people
all
that
hope that. We all
now
hope that.
are displaced will be able to have a warm bed to go home and a warm meal, and once again cuddle up with their family.
There's a website that was given to me before for helping the Jews of
Ukraine, Bardichev,
right Berdishin Berdichen,
Bardichev.
okay, Ukraine, and that's through the chesedfund.com. So that's a link that was provided. So when we're through speaking with Rabbi Raskin, I want to put that up so that anybody and everybody who wants to make a donation to help the Jews here in the Ukraine, it's through the Chesed Fund. So we're going to show that link. And Rabbi Raskin, I want to thank you and also Rabbi Plotkin for joining us. So we're showing it now.
There's the
It's
link right
the
there. Yeah.
chesedfund.com. Kesher Inc. Bardechav.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me tonight.
Thank you for being.
It's an honor and a privilege to be on your show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Raskin, and thank you
The
to
honor is
Rabbi
ours of
Plotkin.
having you on the show.
Thank you so much, and please continue doing what you do
Yeah.
because
Keep
I'm
them
so
doing
proud to
good
be part of
God's
the
work.
community with you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Anthony. Okay, Anthony. Our sponsors. Put our sponsors on.
Put our sponsors on, Anthony, and show the link. So we're looking for sponsors. If anybody would like to sponsor us, if you have a small business or restaurant and you would like to be part of our program, Law and Disorder at Outlook.com. That's who you should contact. And we're looking for sponsors. And your ad will be shown every week on our show. It's an hour show, as you know, as a podcast. And so we will advertise your business. If you have a small business, a large business, if you have a restaurant. Okay, if you would like to support lawanddisorder.com, that's Law and Disorder at Outlook.com. We also have Parco Associates. Call today for great rates at 917-565-3449. That's Danielle Parco at Danny@spyforyou.com. and of course, Vinnie Parco himself, an author of his books,
Yeah, these
and
are
you
my.
can get his books. I'm hawking your products.
Keep
There's a
walking. Good job.
I'm a hawker. So Vinnie Parco, Mafia Double Cross. I actually have all of his books. They're all phenomenal. There's Mafia Double Cross, Investigations After Dark, which makes me wonder if how well you do undercover or under the covers
Under
with
the covers.
Investigations After
What's under
Dark.
the covers?
Then from the Detective's Kitchen, Vinnie has put out a cookbook, and of course Vinnie Parco Rogue PI. So purchase any one of Vinny's books on Amazon.com. Stay tuned for when we do post, when Vinny will be showing up to do book signings.
Yeah, soon.
Thank you to Mark Turner Insurance at 36 Richmond Terrace, Suite 114, Staten Island, New York. He's a Medicare and Medicaid resource center. And who else do we have?
Well, we have another sponsor, Cause for Us. He's in Staten Island also. We got more people from Staten Island sponsoring. We haven't made his. I have to get his graphics to Anthony. Anthony's got to do it. It's going to be a little bit more involved because it's a caricature of the guy. But he's a good guy. He buys cars and he sells them. And nowadays, it's hard to get used cars. The prices have gone up. Even new cars. I think the prices are like 25% more than the manufacturer's suggested resale price.
Well, if you want, I can get you some stolen cars.
Well, your clients, you could. But if you get a stolen car, do you get an out of jail card? You get a get out of jail card?
Yes,
also?
I get you an get out of jail free card. And for if you get arrested 3 times or more, I do give you a discount.
Do you give a special on RICO cases?
Sure, I do.
Racketeering. Okay.
And then just to put up that website again, or that the link to help the Jews of Berdachev, Ukraine. That's at the Chesed Fund. If you can flash that up again, Anthony, I'd appreciate it.
Also, I'd like to add.
Thank you.
There are other organizations that we didn't have on the show tonight. There are other organizations that are collecting money, they're collecting clothes, they're collecting money for these people in Ukraine. Now, keep in mind, a lot of them are going to Poland. Now, Poland isn't a very rich country, so they need the money to help them house the people, feed them, medicine. There's a lot of things have to be taken care of when you are a refugee. You don't have the items from your home anymore. You're out with nothing.
You're basically leaving. You're leaving with whatever you can grab immediately, and to flee the country with your family, to flee to safety. And what's really sad is if you look at these pictures of people going with suitcases and with their personal belongings, and children clutching either stuffed animals, toys. People even looking to rescue their animals too, their dogs and cats and everything.
Yeah, they're like animals are like family.
Of course they are family, but what's really sad is when you look at these photos today, and then you look at photos from back in the 30s as people were fleeing the countries as well during Nazi occupation. What's really so sad is, we as Jews say never again every time, we discuss the Holocaust. And, it's so many years ago, but now in 2022, we're seeing people fleeing their homes and leaving their loved ones behind to fight on the ground, and they're displaced. They're going across the border to other countries where they don't know anybody. They don't even know the language. They're leaving their homes, their jobs, the safety of their homes. And it's just really sad in 2022 that we've come so far with all our advancements, and yet you're fighting hand-to-hand battle. You have people fighting against tanks coming into their country.
Well, here's a problem. There's a problem the Ukrainians are going to have. You see, what they have is Molotov cocktails that have small arms. They're going to fight door to door, okay? House to house fighting. The problem is, Putin has done this before in the state of Georgia.
Sure.
They can carpet bomb an entire neighborhood. and there's nothing left to hide behind to shoot the Russian soldiers. That is probably one of the tactical things they're going to do, and
Well, you're
it's
fighting,
terrible.
but right, but you have the Russian army using missiles, and they
Yeah,
have tanks, and then you
right.
have
But
people on the ground who are just, like I said, average citizens taking up guns to fight the Russian army, and you can't use
but
a handheld weapon against an air missile.
no, but you can use a handheld weapon against a tank. And Sweden had just sent like 500 anti-tank guns. They're like bazookas. They're called
Sure.
Bofors. And the Russians are afraid of them because that could take out a tank. And um, and the Molotov cocktails, the whole idea, and the irony of it is that General Molotov was the one who invented or discovered the Molotov cocktail World War II, and now they're using it against the Russian tanks if they come into the city. But the point I'm trying to make is Putin is a madman, and he's going to just wipe out a complete neighborhood. They don't have to worry about being shot at anymore because they're just
But they're
going to
taking it. If you see the photos right now, you have apartment buildings. It's all like residents, civilians being taken out,
yeah.
and it's just to see photos like that right now that are coming in daily, on social media, in the newspapers, all the news sites. It's just very sad to see something like that.
Okay, we
You know,
got
we
2 minutes left. We got to talk about what are we thankful for? What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful right now that I live in a free country and I can express my thoughts and not have anybody knock on my door like the thought police, who are going to look to arrest me and prosecute me and persecute me for my freedom of speech. That's what I'm thankful for.
Well, I'm thankful for the same thing, and I'm thankful for my family. I have a wonderful family. My daughter has been supportive of me. She's been wonderful. My boys are good. They're great. I have tremendous friends. I have a handful of really good friends that I could count on. And I have many friends also, but I got just, and what I've noticed too is that as I'm getting older, I'm separating negative people from positive people. I only want positive people in my life. I don't need anybody negative. And fortunately, I have very few negative people, and I got rid of them all. They're all gone. And I'm very thankful for you being my partner on the show. And of course, Anthony.
Anthony, we can't do this without you.
Who puts up with us?
We got to work on my glitches every week.
Yeah, well, we got to get you technically adept.
We got to get me in one location every single week. But by the way, I just want you to know that, and I'm very proud of this, is that my son has enlisted in the Air National Guard. He's going to go into training
Great.
and
Good.
eventually in the Air Force. So I'm
Fantastic.
very proud of him. And
Good.
God should protect him and everybody right now in the armed forces.
Yes. Okay. It's 9:00. We've had an
9
interesting
o'clock, the
evening.
witching hour.
The witching hour. I want to thank everybody for listening in. I love when people comment. I try to respond to the comments, but sometimes when someone's speaking, we don't want to interrupt them, especially if he's a rabbi. you don't want them to. You want to go to heaven. You want to be good with all the religious people. But as we say in Little Italy, where the Bronx tale comes from, sempre noi, always with us.
Well, I'm going to say something to you from my people to all your people. Shalom and have a good night.
That's good. I love that. Good night, and Ed.